my question was, so I had an awakening last autumn that lasted 2 months, and it was quite pure, and there's still lingering, well, it feels like a permanent awakening, but the veil has still kind of, closed in a little bit since then, and as such, I'm left in this trap of, I think, expectation. Separate self expecting every day to be as grand as that time the veil was lifted. So I was wondering, just what advice you might have to stop expecting. I realized just negating that and asserting it as well. So, yeah, just give any thoughts on that.
Yeah. How would you describe? Well, it might seem like a strange question to go straight to, but how would you describe the busyness of your mind? Would you say you've got a very busy mind? Would you say you've got a very quiet mind? Something in between? How would you describe your mind?
It's very busy. Yeah. It's pendulum, like, pushing and pulling. Yeah, it's quite busy.
Yeah. That's why I asked the question, because I felt that from you, even, just during the first 20 minutes of the call, I could feel from you that busyness of mind. I hope you don't mind me saying that. It's just a sense I got from you. What was your awakening like?
It was just like being part of a divine play, and I realized that I was the eternal witness to experience. That word really resonated with me, and just realization that it's all God's will, everything's God's will, and just synchronicities everywhere, and seeing heaven, like everything felt like paradise essentially. So it's the most glorious few months of my life, needless to say. And now that the veil has kind of lifted down again, it's this perpetual, gosh, I hate to say it, but kind of disappointment every day. Every day just feels so tame in comparison, and I know that all suffering is illusory, and that it's just a matter of resting my mind. But I just can't seem to.
What was your energy level like during that? So autumn, and it went on for 3 months. Did you say? Did you say 3 months?
Yeah, 2.5 months.
Okay, something like that. 2-3 months. What was your energy? What were your energy levels like during that time?
Quite high. It was just great. Everything was great.
Yeah. And did you feel like you're on? An English expression. You're on cloud 9. You're high.
Yeah, that's it.
Everything was wonderful. Yeah.
This
is very common. And it's usually foreshadows something deeper happening, but it can take quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would be the case for you, if it'll take some time or not. It often foreshadows a deeper, what this awakening you've had, I come across people who have had this happen all the time. It's not a liberation, but it usually foreshadows a liberation, but that liberation might take quite some time, like a couple of years.
Okay.
Maybe longer, maybe much longer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know how relevant that piece of information will be for you personally. What happens is that when the sense of did that sense of being a person fall away, a doer?
Oh yeah.
But okay, did the sense of time and space fall away?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Briefly, not.
Yeah, what I'm getting from you is that you had an awakening where the sense of doership fell away, but not the sense of time and space. And then you, Alex, body, mind, Alex, was just on autopilot. Everything was just like you were like in the zone. In sports, when someone gets into the zone and everything's just flowing, like a flow state, and everything's just wonderful. And when that happens, a lot of tension is released.
Mm-hmm.
And when the tension is released, a load of energy comes into the system. and you get this euphoric state that can go on for quite some time. Usually it's not 2-3 months, although it can be. Often it's a lot shorter than that.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be longer. But inevitably, that euphoria and that sense of everything going on autopilot starts to calm down as the body-mind mechanism acclimatizes. So that's my sense of something like that's happened to you. Just give me feedback if that's kind of sounds right to you or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, the way it ended, and it was, I was like on cloud nine essentially for 2 months, and I was around nature a lot. I was quite isolated, but I had, you know, and I don't know how this fits into non-duality, but like an entity that, you know, latched onto me, a spiritual entity of sorts, and that which I let in from my own free will, being just kind of out of it, and that had really disastrous consequences for a bit. But yeah, I don't know how. Now everything's fine, but it just the veil is just completely lifted down.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well, I didn't expect you to say that, but that's very interesting. So
yeah,
there's another entity involved. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look, I know this is broadly speaking a non-duality meeting, but that's just the label we give to the meeting. Really, what I'm interested in is helping people end their suffering and helping people come to genuine liberation. So we don't, if we need to talk about entities, we can go there as well.
mm-hmm.
But if we're going into the entity stuff, I wonder if this is a bit more complicated.
Okay,
Then
okay,
maybe we should go into everything in this meeting. But I mean, what I would say is that you've had this genuine awakening clearly, um, and these awakenings usually come to an end in the way you describe, but not with the entity, but they come to an end. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Um, and the basic thing is, the mind is usually still very, very active. What I call very rajasic. Have you heard that term before?
I haven't.
Okay, it's a useful. It's the learning about the three energies is a very useful thing at your stage in the journey. It's useful at any stage of the journey, but it's very useful for you, Alex, because when your mind's very active and passionate, that's like a high energy level of the mind, and
Mm-hmm.
that needs to become peaceful
Yes.
before the awakening or the liberation really comes into you fully and becomes grounded and stable. And that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It will take time. You yourself is
Okay.
a very busy mind. It will take time for that mind to calm down, and that's why it takes time. When the mind becomes calm and peaceful, when it's highly energetic and very busy, we call that rajasic energy. Rajasic just
Mm-hmm.
means very busy and passionate. When it becomes peaceful, it's known as sattvic energy, which means peace, basically peacefulness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what needs to happen to the mind. Because essentially, when the mind is very rajasic, it will keep on taking you away from the truth of what you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the essential thing. Now, how you get your mind from rajas to sattva, from busyness to peace, the exact way it will work out for you will vary from person to person.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, I think I
hesitant
need
to
to
go
give up
into too much
caffeine.
detail because there's also this thing of the entity as well, and but maybe you can see how it goes with just that piece of advice I've given you for now.
Yeah, sure.
And some people, I mean, one thing I offer are one-to-one consultations, and if you wanted to do that, we could do that and maybe go into more detail about this other stuff.
Sure.
Or you could just, you might not need that, and you can see how it goes, and maybe come back to another meeting like this and report back and see it. You can let us know how it's all going.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Thanks. Yeah.
Good to meet you, Alex. Good to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you.
I come across these sorts of awakenings that people have every now and again. They're really genuine, but at the same time, they're temporary.
It wasn't entirely temporary because I still see divinity everywhere, and
Yeah,
that remains. It's
yeah,
perpetual.
yeah. That's right. Yeah. There's a part of it that doesn't go away, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. but it's temporary in that the sort of high eventually goes.
Yeah.
High,
Oh yeah.
high dissipates eventually.
Such a buzzkill.
And
Yeah.
it's great that you say it isn't temporary, because that means there's an aspect of it that isn't temporary, perhaps.
Hmm.
What happens to most people is when the high goes, they feel they've lost it
Hmm.
because they associate the high with the awakening.
Hmm.
When the high goes, they think, "Oh my gosh, the awakening's gone." The awakening hasn't actually come or gone. The awakening always is. But there's a sense, "Oh gosh, it's gone," because that kind of flow state and that high energy, it's a rajasic flow state.
Hmm.
Often the mind's buzzing, loads of activity in the body. People become quite hedonistic even during this phase. They start doing lots of things, become quite active sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was me a little bit.
that you can get high of it. So it can, yeah, so that all can happen as well. I said can take quite some time for things to settle down.
Mhm.
Okay. Alex, I'm just going to put you on mute. That's okay. Anyone else? Anyone else have a question? Just raise your hand or unmute yourself. We're very happy to have a chat.